wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on! Move on, Joe!
We're going to try, Priest. We're going to try to move on. Bay Area's deal with a couple of L's last few days. We don't like that. Let's get the mood a little bit better around here, all right? Thanksgiving is next week. Christmas is right around the corner. Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. It's the end of the year. We all celebrate New Year's. It's going to be here before you know it. Let's end the year on a positive note. Can we do that? We try to do that, people. We'll try to do that today at 888-957-9570. Good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school, getting ready for, if you have a week off, if you got vacation. It's going to start raining a lot. I saw the forecast, pulled up my weather app because I like to do that because, no, I'm not an old man, but I'm 31 years old and I have 2 children and I like to know what the weather is. Am I going to have to, entertain them in the house? Can I take them to the park so they can run around, blow off some steam, and then take a nap? Well, it's looking like it's going to start raining a bunch, starting this weekend. And thankfully, the Niners are going to be on the road, and the Warriors play in the NBA, so you don't have to worry about the elements. But I'll say this. It's a massive game for the San Francisco 49ers coming up on Sunday at Lambeau Field. You're going to have the GOAT on the call alongside Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, so you're going to have the A crew for Fox, as you've had multiple times already this season. You're going to be facing off against old friend who you've kind of owned in the playoffs, Mike LaFleur. And then, I always get that. Is it Mike LaFleur or is it Matt LaFleur? It's Matt LaFleur, right? Mike LaFleur's the brother. I already butchered it. It's all right. We're 2 minutes into the show. No one's listening, right? I don't think so. But Matt LaFleur, you've owned in the playoffs. Josh Jacobs is a new addition. Jordan Love, you saw what he could do last year. He was impressive until he wasn't, until he looked like, a guy that's making his first ever go-round as an NFL starting quarterback. Christian Watson, problem. Dobbs, a problem. That defense is what I'm looking at, though. And I'm also looking at this 49ers defense, which is just really, it hasn't been bad. I think it's been getting unfairly crushed. I think Nick Sorensen's been, his name has been brought up a bunch. And of all the problems with this team right now, I would say the latter end would be the defense. If I'm going most of the problems, it starts on offense. Actually, it starts on special teams, to be quite honest with you, because it's just anything but special. I just call it teams. It's not good at all. You don't do anything well. Like, you're supposed to have some sort of speed component on special teams, but they don't even have that. You should have some level of fear in the other team's special teams, but really, I think the 49ers just fear their own special teams. It's not good. And then you go to the offense and the inconsistency in the red zone, the lack of an outside threat in the passing game. It was glaring without George Kittle this past Sunday. Just absolutely no one else other than Juwan Jennings trying to shed 5, 6, 7 tacklers at a time, doing it all on his own. No Debo, wasn't doing anything. I mean, he was playing, don't get me wrong. He was out there. I don't know what he was doing. Ricky Pearsall, yeah, it was a nice little story in Tampa. That was awesome. That's great. It's been very inspirational. I'm not poo-pooing that, what the guy's gone through, but they're going to need more from him going forward. This is nut up or shut up time in the NFL. You know how I know that? I only got 3 weeks left in my fantasy football league, people. All right? We need to get focused. Sam Lubman's last place right now. You think he wants to finish last place? Those are crucial games for him. All right? He's locked and loaded. I didn't mean to poke fun at you, Sam, there. I was actually going to say we have a massive game coming up here in a couple weeks. I face off against Sam Lubman. Maybe he's playing spoiler. And even the teams the 49ers are facing this season, I don't know who's going to be playing spoiler on here because everyone might be involved in the playoff picture. You got the Packers, Bills, Bears. I think the Bears are done, but they're playing for pride still. They're not They're playing for their head coach. Or maybe they're doing the opposite and trying to get the head coach out of there, Matt Eberflus, because his days look numbered. But Caleb Williams, you think, is still developing. And that was a brutal loss for them against Green Bay last week. When you thought, well, maybe we shouldn't have thought because it is the Bears, and the Bears like to have sadness and misery. Much like the Jets, much like the Browns, much like the Raiders. It just bad stuff happens to certain franchises right now. And it goes back to ownership. And we're going to get into some of the dumpster fires around the league as the show goes on, because it is just, it feels like one of the worst coached NFL seasons I could remember. Or more, just the organizations themselves. Because there is this thing with blaming the coaches first, and I get it. When things are going wrong and you can't point at all the players, you want to point at the man in charge. Just like in our everyday lives, we'll poke at the president. He's in charge of all this. Ultimately, this is responsible for this. It's him, it's him, it's him, it's him, it's him, it's him. And just like in the NFL, it's Shanahan. It's Lynch. It's everyone. It's not Christian McCaffrey. It's not Brock Purdy. It's not George Kittle. No, it's not Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. It's the head coach. He's putting these people in positions, either to win or lose. And when we're losing, we're going to point the finger. But I don't think 49ers fans, and I like to think they're a smart bunch. I do. We have a very smart collection of listeners here in the Bay Area when it comes to our teams. Giants, Warriors, was the A's, Niners, Sharks, Sharkies, Celebrini. Hey, Sharks understand the assignment. Hey, we can lose a bunch of games this year, but as long as Macklin Celebrini is giving us some flashes of hope, as he's done this year, hey, get another top 5 pick, pair him with Celebrini, we're back in business, baby. But we have a smart collection of sports fans here in the greater Bay Area. So I'm going to challenge them, and 49er fans in particular, to just look around the rest of the NFL and really tell me if you feel like getting rid of Kyle Shanahan. Because you look around, just pull up the standings right now. NFL standings. Perfect. Right here. NFL.com. Conference. No, I didn't mean to go to watch Week 11 games. Stupid website. All right, we're back. All right. Let's start in the AFC. Rather be Jacksonville? Worst team in the NFL at 2-9? Would you rather be the Raiders? Been one of the worst teams in the NFL my entire life. And yes, I still watch them because I'm a sick person. I'm a glutton for punishment. Tennessee Titans, you want to be them? Mr. Mayonnaise? Yeah? That sound fun? And by the way, Jaguars and Raiders, they're going to be firing their head coaches. Titans, it's their first season. Their head coach. Browns, you want to be them? 2-8? Married to Deshaun Watson? You want that situation? Yeah? Kevin Stefanski, I don't think he'll be fired because I do think he's a pretty damn good head coach. And I do think this has the owner written all over him when it comes to Deshaun Watson and all that, Jimmy Haslam. It was just a disaster from all the allegations up to this point. It's been unmitigated disaster in Cleveland. Patriots, 3-8. You want that situation? Following up a dynasty? Gerard Mayo trying to walk in the footsteps of Bill Belichick? Drake May looks promising. They have 3 wins. The Jets. The Jets. Jets, Jets, who just fired their general manager, Joe Douglas. And I guess Woody Johnson, the owner of the New York Jets, according to Athletic Report, he wanted Aaron Rodgers benched. He wanted Tyrod Taylor to go in there. Is it Tyrod? Is it Tyrod? Are we still doing that thing? So you want that situation? And then there are some teams that are still technically alive, like the Bengals. Look what the Bengals did. They gave all that money to Joe Burrow. They got him locked up, locked and loaded. And he's been awesome this year. Like, you just go to passing leader, like Joe Burrow's the top of almost everything. 27 touchdowns, 4 picks, completing 67% of his passes. He's been unbelievable. 3,000 yards, only passer in the NFL right now with over 3,000. And what does he got to show for it? 4-7. And they're on the brink. And everyone still wants to believe in them because their offense looks so good. But if your eyes are, watching the games of the Bengals, the offense could look as good as they want. If that defense is as putrid as we've seen, they're not doing anything. They're an average team. In fact, they're 3 games below average. Then you got the Dolphins. And that situation, they have a somewhat easy schedule coming up, so maybe they claw back into it. I don't think much of Tua. I don't think much of the defense there. We'll see. Colts, you want to be in that situation? Anthony Richardson, who was enemy number 1 a couple weeks ago for yawning on the sideline, for taking a play off. Oh, Joe Flacco, he's the savior. We need to win this season. We could be a playoff team. Please. He's 40 years old, and he showed it the last 2 days. You haven't had a quarterback since Andrew Luck, and you've had a different one seemingly every single season. So the time you actually invest in a quarterback, you're willing to move off of him that quickly because of what? His completion percentage wasn't good because he looks like a raw prospect. Well, that's what you knew coming into the season last year and to this year. It was all about development. And head coach, Shane Steichen, lost a little bit of faith in him too. So that's just the AFC. And how many teams is that? Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 teams that is listed off there. Shout out math. Let me recheck that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 9. 9 teams I just counted in the AFC where there's situations I would not touch ahead of the 49ers. And you can make arguments for other ones like the Broncos. Bo Nix, he's improved. Hey, I'll say this. I was not a believer in Bo Nix heading into this season. He has gotten better. And probably should have because he was in college for like 10 years. But hey, he's a quick learner. Let's jump to the NFC. Giants, 2-8. Disaster. Daniel Jones pushed all the way down to the bench because they don't want him to get injured and have his guaranteed money for next season kick in. So they're going to Tommy DeVito, my guy, my paisan. Hey, love me some Tommy.
What kind of paisan are you?
Oh, I love that we kept the guru in the back. We're the good paisans, Tony in Oakland. Dallas Cowboys, 3-7. Carolina Panthers, 3-7. You guys want to switch places with those? New Orleans Saints, they've already fired their head coach. He gone. Dennis Allen. Yeah, I'm shocked that Dennis Allen, Derek Carr, 2.0, it didn't work out. I'm just, shocked. God, what a disaster that was in Oakland. Who would have thought any difference? New Orleans. He's a coordinator. It's fine. Bears, disaster. We were talking about Caleb, and I was drinking the Kool-Aid. Caleb Williams is entering, what was the narrative heading into the season? The greatest spot a rookie quarterback has ever landed in. And we should have known better. It's the Bears. We can't give them that benefit of the doubt. What if they had a quarterback? Smoking Jay Cutler? Come on. Please. And then they got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who, we'll see. They lost 4 in a row. And then you get to the Niners. So I counted 9 in the AFC and 6 in the NFC. It's half the league. Half the league is a mess right now. An absolute mess. And you want to get rid of your head coach because you're 5-5 in a game out of first place? And you were in a Super Bowl back in February? An overtime period away from winning it? And that was your second Super Bowl appearance in the last 4 years? Do you realize how hard that is? So I really wanted to do a dose of reality. Take a shot of that, if you will, this morning. Not of any of your cold brew, not of any of your Hennessy. No, you need a shot of reality, Niner fans. Because the reality is the NFL is a cold, cruel world. and it'll knock you on your ass real quick. And I think Niner fans are realizing that as of late. When Geno Smith goes night-night to you, it's humbling, and you're angry, and you want to get mad at someone. Well, you can be upset with Shanahan, but I'm not doing it after one 5-5 season. Like, can we wait for them to not even make the playoffs? It really is a what have you done for me lately league, and that's, society in general, instant gratification. I get it. My kids don't even have to watch ads. If they have to watch ads, they freak out. That's where we're at. It's just, they don't know how good they have it, right? They don't know. Whatever they want. And I used to have to wait. The Disney Channel movies back in the day, all right? I used to wait during, Halloween time when Halloween Town would come on, all right? I had to wait year round. They got that at the tap of their fingers all year long. It's July, I can watch Halloween Town. Or I can watch Johnny Tsunami. Even Stevens movie. I'll go down the list. Dude, you don't want to get in a back and forth with Disney Channel original movies with your boy. I'll win. All right? Promise you that. Brian Baldinger joined the Morning Roast yesterday, courtesy of the River Islands guest line, and 888-957-9570. I want to hear from the Niner fans right now because things aren't going well. And have you lost complete faith in this season? And if you haven't lost faith in the season, who have you lost faith in? Have you lost faith in Kyle Shanahan? Have you lost faith in John Lynch, in the quarterback? You're supposed to be the faithful. So I'm calling you guys out right now, 888-957-9570. Brian Baldinger yesterday on the 49ers defense right now. He says it's,
when they did blitz, it was just Fred Warner just kind of fitting in as a fifth rusher. There wasn't anything overloads or free hitters. They don't really know how to do that. I'm not here to throw Nick Sorensen under the bus, but they don't, as opposed to, Steve Spagnuolo and some of these other teams in this league that are good blitzing teams, they just don't know how to get a free hitter to the quarterback. They just don't dial it up. They don't overload. They don't disguise. And so they're pretty bland in what they do.
Pretty bland. And that's Brian Baldinger, former NFL offensive lineman, breaks down film better than anyone else. We got the two best in the business. And the other one is Greg Cosell, who's going to join Willard and Dibbs today, as he does each and every Wednesday, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. So that's Baldy saying that. They don't do anything. They don't look special. And especially without Nick Bosa on that final drive, they were just picked apart by Geno. Who, I'll say this for Geno, if you give him time and give him an opening, he can make you pay. He's not Mac Jones. He's not Jacoby Brissett. Geno Smith is a solid quarterback who's got incredible talent. Hey, Greg Olsen on the broadcast, who played his final year in the NFL in Seattle back in 2020. He played with Geno. And he said he's one of the most gifted throwers of the football in the NFL. But it wasn't even the throwing. It was once he started scrambling, it's when Niner fans said, uh-oh. I didn't know Geno could do that to us. I don't think he knew he could do that, because if he did, he'd be running against us all this time and wouldn't have lost 5 straight against us. It's one thing to lose to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Sam Darnold, the Vikings, you haven't won in Minnesota in forever. Brian Flores, that scheme was crazy. That was a quote from Brock Purdy. It's okay. Good teams. Really good teams. But the Seahawks, who you've owned, the Cardinals, who you've owned, the Rams, who you've owned, the regular season, those are the ones that piss you off as a fan. Those are the ones where you're looking at, hey, we always dominated these guys, and now we're just letting them back into this game. We're just letting them. We're just letting Cooper Kupp. We're letting Puka Nacua. Oh wait, they didn't even have those guys in that game. Oh, well, we're letting Marvin Harrison Jr. torch us. You didn't do all that much. It was Kyler Murray running the ball. It was mistakes on the special teams. It was Geno Smith not having him contained. It was little things that just linger and linger and linger. And if you let little things linger, whether it's in a car, whether it's in your own body, it's going to eventually explode, erupt. Something bad's going to happen. And right now we're seeing that with the 49ers. A lot of little things that have lingered around with this team are now rearing its ugly head. And how do they fix it? Starts in Green Bay. Because you don't want to lose this game. Got the Buffalo Bills right around the corner, baby. More from Baldy right now, talking about the running back. Hey, we got Christian McCaffrey back, right? Everything's fine. Everything's good.
He doesn't look special. He just doesn't. And so Mason, he hit that first run of his 8 yards up the middle.
Yeah.
Like he hit that hole like we've been watching him hit it all year.
Right.
You know, where he was second in the league in rushing a couple weeks ago. Like he hit the hole the way he's supposed to hit the hole. And so I think who knows what's being said. Obviously, they're not sustaining offense where you could get the number of carries that you want. Although they had 27 carries, you know, some of them obviously are scrambles by Brock. But the way Jordan hit that first run, I'm like, that's what they need. They just need somebody just be a bullet right through those between the line. And then he always, he's taking the pile with him. So I don't know. Like, I think Kyle probably thinks that when we get to the postseason, if we get to the postseason, we're going to need McCaffrey at his best. Let's play him into shape. And I think that might be part of it. But that was not an impressive run game by the 49ers on Sunday.
Not even close. Jerry Rice, the GOAT, he talked about it as well.
Well, the burst is not there because everybody there jamming the box. They'll bring everybody down to stop the run. They're not afraid of our air attack. So they're freezing everything down in there. So that doesn't open up that many lanes, CMC. If they would spread everything out just a little bit more and, have those offensive line to open up their stances a little bit, the holes would be so much bigger. But because everything is so congested and condensed, it makes things, really difficult for that big play opportunity.
So that's Brian Baldinger. That's Jerry Rice, the GOAT, who joined the Morning Roast back on Monday, as he does each and every month right here on 95.7 The Game. You're home for Golden State Warrior basketball, by the way, and the Warriors back in action tonight right here on our airwaves. 7 o'clock the tip, 6 o'clock Warriors Live getting us started before handing it off to the voice of the Warriors at 6:30, getting your pregame show coverage there. So, Warriors Hawks tonight, but right now we're focusing on the 49ers with a massive, massive game this Sunday. Lambeau Field, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Matt LaFleur, and company. Season's not over. There's a lot of problems right now. But thankfully you are in a division where you could rectify some of these. Play the Rams one more time. You play the Cardinals one more time. Play the Bears, who that's the only other game on the schedule where I'm saying, you know what, you should win that one. Dolphins, I don't know what to make of them. I'm not a Tua believer. He leaves me wanting a lot. And he honestly, of all the guys that got paid, the Trevor Lawrences, the Dak Prescotts, the Tuas, it's Tua where I'm looking at that as the comp potentially for Brock Purdy. Just physical skill set, all that sort of stuff. And I'm not saying that they're the same guy. I think Brock is a significant, maybe significant strong, given how I've seen him this year. But he's a step above Tua. I've seen that on the biggest stages. I've seen what Brock can do. But I do think, the size, the injury history, not going concussions here. I'm just going just sheer size. Because right now, Brock Purdy is going shoulder soreness, and he's day-to-day. It's his throwing shoulder. It's his right shoulder. And he was taking some shots in that game. And he didn't look like he could trust Christian McCaffrey, or he just didn't see him. Because he was taking some unnecessary punishment a lot in that game. Was it the turf monster when he slipped and then fell on his shoulder? Was that it? That's something to monitor and something to be concerned about for a guy that has limited arm strength as it is. And I'm saying limited in comparison to his peers. He's still much stronger than me, much stronger than you. He's strong enough. But when you take just a little bit off, and Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider and former NFL offensive lineman, he spoke about this yesterday with Steiny and Evan filling in for Goo. Hey, if you're even just a tick off in the NFL, that's the difference between a touchdown and interception. Touchdown and a pick six. sack and a first down. That's the difference. So if you're even a step slow or your arm strength just is a tick off, especially going into cold weather, which is what it's going to be forecasted here at Lambeau Field. What are we looking at here? Lambeau Field weather. Yeah, 45 degrees, cloudy. We'll see. So it's going to be a low of 33 that day. It's concerning, to say the least. So we'll be monitoring that injury as well as Nick Bosa, whether Charvarius Ward's going to play, obviously out due to personal reasons, whether George Kittle is going to be back. We'll be monitoring for that and looking for that all week long. Shanahan speaks to the media later today. We'll have all that coverage right here on 95.7 The Game. Before Chris, you're my guy. Hang on. We're up against it. We'll hit you on the other side, 888-957-9570, Chris in San Jose. Right now with the 49ers, my question, what do you have faith in and what do you not have faith in? It's got to be one apiece. What do you are the faithful. And I always bring this up, and it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but also not really, because you've gone through a lot of hard times as a fan base. How do you think you're spoiled within the last 4 years? And just being 5-5 and acting like the sky is falling is just kind of comical to me. But you are the faithful. What do you have faith in with this team right now? Is it Brock Purdy? Is it Christian McCaffrey, coming back stronger than ever? Can he do that? Is it, the defense rounding into form? What do you have faith in? Or what do you don't have faith in? What is it? What is it? 888-957-9570 is the number. One segment down, two more to go on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
Lovebirds, you're in for a treat.
preserve, and present in engaging ways the colorful and diverse history of our city from its earliest days to the present. As a member, you'll receive The Argonaut, an award-winning publication that has provided in-depth historical accounts for over 30 years. And The Panorama, a quarterly newsletter covering ongoing activities and historical presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
Dub Nation, it's the voice of the Warriors, Tim Roy. You're listening to the pregame show with Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
Thank you, Tim. You'll hear that voice starting at 6:30. A little Warriors pregame coverage there. Warriors Live. Is it Grandy or Evan Giddings tonight? It's one of them. 6 o'clock. Either one. They crush it. These guys are so damn good. And then Warriors wrap up following the game. Again, tip off 7 o'clock. Right here on 95.7 The Game, your home for Golden State Warriors basketball versus Hot Atlanta. It's going to be at Chase Center tonight. So it's a Wednesday, Bay Area traffic, get there early. It's always good to get there early. Enjoy the pregame festivities if there is any. Go walk around. Go get yourself a Steph Curry jersey, Draymond Green jersey, Brandon Pajemski jersey. Pajemski, what have you done for me lately? Hasn't been great, but he's got time. He's a young player. It's early on in the season. Again, goes back to depth. The Warriors will be just fine because of their depth, and that's been on display many times already this season. 10-3. Actually have pretty soft part of your schedule right now. Atlanta's not very good. New Orleans, you've handled them. No Zion, no problem, in my opinion. San Antonio, big win for them yesterday over the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll see. Brooklyn, So, got a chance here to even stack more wins. And the depth is something to be encouraged about in the regular season. And that's what we're talking about with the 49ers right now. The regular season. And their depth has been tested. And we've come to figure out there's still, some holes in the armor here in San Francisco, specifically the defensive line. It's just not special. Even with Nick Bosa, who's been solid, at Bosa's standards, he hasn't been his best. And you grade on the Bosa curve. So even when he's not playing his best, he's playing solid, he's playing good, that's still better than the rest, but it's not good enough for where the 49ers want it to be. And you thought he'd have an even better season this year, just given who they added. And Leonard Floyd, who's been a double-digit sack machine his whole career. Now, he had a solid game last week, Leonard Floyd. I wouldn't say he had a good game. He's had 4.5 sacks this season, so maybe he gets eventually to his double-digit sack total. And maybe that, skews how we think about double-digit sacks if this team doesn't even end up making the playoffs. But it just hasn't been working. It hasn't been special. And Brian Baldinger joined Bonte and Shasky yesterday and just talked about that lack of depth on the outside.
They don't look like there's a single threat out there to get to the quarterback from any position, including Leonard Floyd. They don't look like they have anybody that could beat one-on-one pass protection right now.
So is that what you have the least amount of faith in right now, 49er fans? The defensive line? Is it Kyle Shanahan? Is it Brock Purdy? Where's your faith at right now? 888-957-9570. As we go, George Michael, gotta have faith. I got faith in Chris in San Jose, though. He always brings it. What's going on, Chrissy? How you doing, bud?
Hey, what's going on, Spadoni, my brother? Listen, to answer your question, what do I have faith in? I still have faith in Brock Purdy. We're a little understaffed right now on the offensive side of the ball, but I still see a guy and still remember the guy that can pick apart defenses as long as guys are open. What don't I have faith in? Oh, man. I'm not saying fire the guy. You know, I'm not on that contingency, but I am losing a little bit of faith game by game in Kyle Shanahan. I think when it comes to the disgruntled fan base, and you know, a lot of people, it's boom or bust, right? It's we love this guy or get rid of this guy. But I do think that people who want to fire him, there is some merit to that, right? I mean, we're talking about a guy who has had, you know, the same issues going back a decade to when he lost that Super Bowl in Atlanta. And I do think we're allowed to bring that stuff up when it comes to Kyle. So, you know, and you touching on that, I wanted to touch on that too, the defensive line, right? So we've hit on quite a few prospects. We've hit on, you know, Warner, Ayuk, Debo, you know, Purdy in the 7th round, all these guys, but we have not drafted a single defensive line threat outside of Nick Bosa, and the only way we got Nick Bosa is we were so bad, and he fell to number 2 when everybody in the world, except for, what was it, the Bears who drafted Trubisky or whoever it was, everybody in the world thought that Nick Bosa should be number 1.
Oh, it was Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray to the Cardinals.
Kyler Murray, okay. I knew it was some other quarterback, right? So we're talking about, and I don't know if it's Kyle. I don't know, you know, how married are Kyle and John together? Because while there have been plenty of draft successes in the lower rounds, I mean, we have repeatedly failed on the defensive line. We have repeatedly failed on the offensive line. And the game is won and lost in the trenches. And whether it's Kyle, John, both of them in that draft room doing it together, they have come up short in the trenches. Period. Point blank. So I don't know what to say about it, Spadoni. I don't really have much faith in the Niners moving forward and making the playoffs. That's just me personally. I try to be an optimist while also a realist, right? And I just don't see it happening. So I don't know, Spadoni. That what you said about Nick Bosa and even him, you know, but not really being the top defensive lineman, even though he's the highest paid. It's like the fan base is waking up. 0 defensive linemen other than Nick Bosa who fell into our lap in 6 or 7 years they've been here. I love you, Spadoni. I'm going to cut it short because I'm just rambling today. But let's have a wonderful Wednesday, a WW, and let's keep this thing going with the Warriors, baby. Have a good one.
Let's go. It's Chris in San Jose. You got to love that. You just got to love the inflection in his voice. He's feeling good. He's feeling good on a hump day, baby. Come on. Where's my Tim Hardaway at? Let's go.
Happy hump day, people. Happy hump day.
It is. It's a Warriors Wednesday, by the way, brought to you by Friedman's Appliance. Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill to check out their live working vignettes. Sam Lubman and I were out there a couple months ago. Love me some Friedman's Appliance. They have really cool stuff there. And especially if it's not for just, you know, the bougie crowd. If you're on a budget, they got stuff for you there too. They got plans. They got everything. Go check them out. Friedman's Appliance, Pleasant Hill. Chris in San Jose said something interesting there. He has faith in Brock Purdy, but he's losing faith in Kyle Shanahan. See, I think those two are mutually, you know, exclusive. Those two are tied at the hip. If Kyle Shanahan, if I'm losing faith in Kyle, there's part of me that feels like maybe I should be losing faith in Brock Purdy too. Because yes, I understand that Brock and his success and his intangibles, specifically scrambling, are outside of the Shanahan playbook. But I do attribute a lot of Brock Purdy's success in the NFL to his head coach. You can say, Spadoni, that's crazy. You could agree. I don't really give a damn what you think. But the fact of the matter is, if you're losing faith in Kyle Shanahan, I'd start losing faith in the quarterback a little bit too. Because it takes 2 to tango in any offense when it comes to the play caller and the quarterback. If they're not on the same page, it's not going to be pretty. And if right now the 49ers offense isn't clicking, that's a reflection of the head coach. That's a reflection of the quarterback. That's a reflection of everything below them. So that little thing, that was interesting from Chris and Santa. You got faith in Purdy, but not in Shanahan. I'm just, the way I think, like you're not having faith in Shanahan. I don't know how much faith I'm going to have in Brock Purdy. Do you disagree? Do you agree? 888-957-9570. I think those two are tied at the hip. If I have to go down with both of them, if anything. And they've honestly backed themselves into the corner now. I'm not saying that they shouldn't pay Brock Purdy. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying if this stays mediocre the rest of the season and Brock looks pretty average like he has most of the season, like, does that number change? Does that, do feelers go up? Do you look at other avenues in the offseason? Just a thought. Just a thought. By the way, there could be a Hall of Fame quarterback that may want to come to San Francisco in the offseason. What if I told you that? A Hall of Fame quarterback coming to San Francisco. I'll discuss that on the other side. 2 segments down, 1 more to go on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
How's your home handling hot and chilly weather these days? For a comfortable home, you should consider proper weatherproofing. If you're working with a professional to upgrade or build a new home, be sure to talk with them about Golden State Lumber and Building Materials. They partner with respected brands such as Owens Corning, who can help you lower your energy costs. See their many brands and locations at goldenstatelumber.com.
Bay Area, it's DeAnthony Melton. You're listening to the pregame show with Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
Thanks, DeAnthony. Not a good update with him yesterday, Steve Kerr. ACL not looking good there. In fact, you know what? Let me just play it. As we have one more segment left here on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 888-957-9570. Kerr on DeAnthony Melton's injury. By the way, Steve Kerr joined Willard and Dibbs yesterday as he does each and every week, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. Steve Kerr.
He's been seeking, their opinions, and we've really been evaluating everything, just trying to get him the best advice he can get, and we're obviously very concerned. Anytime you're talking about an ACL, it's I had one in college and tore it completely and had surgery, and it's a serious injury. So we're really taking our time and making sure DeAnthony gets all of the advice he needs.
So there you go. Steve Kerr yesterday on DeAnthony Melton. Warriors Hawks tonight, 7 p.m. Warriors Live starting at 6, right here on 95.7 The Game. James and Sam and Tay, I'll get to you in a second. 888-957-9570. And good morning to all of you just getting up, getting ready for work, getting ready for school, getting ready for the week. Bonta Hill and Joe Shasky right around the corner, top of the hour at 6 o'clock. Got 11 minutes here. But before that, we were talking about 49ers. And I teased, this might sound a little out there, a little crazy. I don't think it's that crazy, though. I'll tell you why. Right now, the New York Jets are an absolute disaster. They are a dumpster fire. Joe Douglas, their GM, fired. Robert Saleh, already fired. They're cleaning house. They're starting from the ground up, and they got to. This has just been one of the more disaster years I could remember in the NFL, given the expectations. Hell, I look like an idiot. I was drinking that Kool-Aid too. The New York Jets. Boy, did I get fooled on that to go John Sterling. I did. But there might be something to come out of it. I don't think this is Aaron Rodgers' last year in the NFL. And if that's the case, I don't see him returning to the New York Jets. Be a free agent. If the 49ers miss the playoffs, think Kyle Shanahan wouldn't kick the tires and reach out to one Aaron Rodgers? Now, I know. Brock Purdy, MVP candidate last year. They're 5-5. The season's not over. But just playing the hypothetical game, you flirted with him a couple years ago, and it pissed off Matt LaFleur, your buddy Kyle Shanahan, where you were like, hey, Aaron Rodgers, you want to come over here? Remember, it was during the draft. They ended up getting Trey Lance. In hindsight, yikes. Like, you don't think he's going to scratch his head a little bit? Man, I missed out on Tom Brady when he left New England. Stock was low then, and I thought, you know what? Jimmy Garoppolo, he was better. I just look at certain situations in sports that even quarterbacks can't overcome. There's just certain organizations. It doesn't matter. The Jets are one of them. It's cursed. The Raiders, the Browns, there's just certain franchises that are cursed. And it's just organizationally, from the top down, ownership. You can't overcome bad ownership. And we're seeing that right now in real time with a lot of teams this season. So I wouldn't, scoff at the notion that Aaron Rodgers could potentially be in San Francisco next season. If things play out how they've played out already this season for the San Francisco 49ers, which is, And if Brock Purdy continues to look, okay. You don't think Kyle Shanahan has a wandering eye for quarterbacks? Oh, he does. He's from the John Gruden coaching tree. He absolutely does. James, San Mateo, he wants to talk some Kyle Shanahan. What's going on, James? You're on the pregame show.
Hey, good morning, Spadoni. Hey, I feel like everyone knows that Shanahan is really conservative, right? And he needs to grow up here, especially with all the injuries this team has. You need to open up the playbook. I'm talking like a fake punt once in a while from Steve or something Because, I mean, I'm no defensive guru, but I'm sure whoever has to get a defensive scheme together against the Lions and Dan Campbell, I mean, you never know what that guy's going to do. I know he doesn't have the players. That's why you got to start doing something different.
Yeah.
He's just doing the same thing with less talent. When you have less talent, you have to try something different. And he's not trying anything different. He's just doing the same thing with less talent. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thanks, James. No, it's very vanilla, very bland right now. But a lot of the talent he's missing is significant. And the talent he does have on the field is compromised. That is part of the equation here. And that is part of what happens when you lose a Super Bowl. And you've played in this many playoff games. People get hurt. Players get hurt. Players lose a step. This is what it looks like. Everyone looks like they might be just a tick off at times. Fred Warner, he had an opportunity. Geno Smith had a huge conversion. And he threaded the needle right past an outstretched Fred Warner on that final drive. Fred almost got that fingertip on there, just couldn't get it. That's the difference right there. Nick Bosa, banged up, his usage rate at an all-time high in the NFL. You go to George Kittle. It's an incredible season. He's also taken a beating this year. Run game, passing game, all around. It takes its toll. Ricky Pearsall, he's a rookie who went through a traumatic injury. And he's going to have some games, and he's also going to have games where he just doesn't do anything because he is a rookie. Deebo Samuel, he looks like he's lost more than a step. He's not fooling anyone out there. Oh, and by the way, you don't have Brandon Ayuk. Juwan Jennings, yes, he's the one that has, broken through and has surprised us all. It used to just be third and Juwan. Now it's first, second, and third, and fourth Juwan. Doesn't matter. Throw him the damn ball. He'll make a play. So I just look at the lack of talent and the talent you do have, and I say to myself, this makes sense being 5-5 right now. Here's Jerry Rice talking about if it's too late to tweak that passing game we were just talking about.
It's never too late, man. It's never too late. Man, we got weapons. We got dogs. We got one of the best running backs. We got receivers on the outside. We just need, Kittle and those guys to get on the field. Even with Bosa, I think he tweaked something yesterday. We need him on the football field. We need every man up right now. Hey, if something is not working for you, you got to try to do something else. This is the NFL, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And we pay these guys a lot of money to go out there and to win football games.
In the passing game right now, it's all just in the middle of the field. And that's what Kyle Shanahan likes to exploit. That's what's the bread and butter for his quarterbacks and his downfield passing game is attacking the middle of the field. But right now, you're not attacking the outside numbers, and teams are just banking on that. They're camped out, and they're waiting for you to make a mistake, and they're waiting for you to force a ball like you did. Tariq Woolen bats it up. You get the pick. They're waiting for you to make a mistake because they don't respect either the play calling or the arm strength of the quarterback. And why aren't they attacking outside the numbers? Because I do think Brock, again, I mentioned earlier, I don't think he has the strongest arm, but he has his arm strong enough to where he could throw some of those outside routes. Some of the stuff that Geno Smith was showing. Well, why can't Brock do that? Well, Baldy was talking about that yesterday.
They do like to attack the middle of the field. Most teams funnel everything to the middle, and so that's kind of where they want you to go. And so it makes it tough. It makes it tough to make a living in the middle of the field all game long, especially if you're 6 feet tall or 6'1". You're not going to have the type of vision that some of these other guys, Joe Burrow, whatever, has. But he still has great touch on him. He made a number of good throws, but they're not using every blade of grass, and they're not hitting some of those option routes the way they once did. And so they look, it just looks because they look slow and because they don't get explosive plays. And I'm not saying this is the word I want to use, but they look predictable.
Predictable, bland, vanilla, stale, exhausted, exasperated. Those are just some of the words I heard around our airwaves yesterday to describe the San Francisco 49ers season. Exhausted was the one that I kept coming back to. I had mentioned that Monday. Evan was talking about that yesterday. The entire season, before the season, it's just been one thing after another after another. Even when you get a win, oh, we need to get rid of our kicker. Oh, you couldn't punch it into the end zone. Oh, we got an injury. It's always something. Oh, Brock didn't look good enough. This is a pivotal point in the 49ers season where things can go off the rails in a hurry or they can salvage it. This is the game this week. It's nut up or shut up time. I got 2 minutes left. Let's squeeze in 616 here. Who is this? I'm just going to go to him straight, Sammy. Don't even worry about it. I'm just going to take it right now. 616. Who do I got here? You're on the pregame show. That might have been a caller from Colorado. I said Michigan. But we get some callers in here because people are listening to a station out in Colorado or somewhere where they're always having Sabrina Carpenter tickets. Yeah, Sam knows what I'm talking about. You screen some of these callers like, hi, I'm so-and-so calling from so-and-so. I was like, great, what do you want to talk about? They're like, Sabrina Carpenter tickets? Yeah, no, we're not giving those away. Maybe we should. Maybe we'll get more listeners. I'll pitch that to Matt. Maybe we're not tapping into the right demographic enough. Sabrina Carpenter, hey, she's got some hits. We're right near Alice. We're right near, I was going to say Live 105 doesn't play Sabrina Carpenter. We're right near Alice. They play her all the time out in the lobby. I'm not mad at that. We like Sabrina Carpenter right now and Chapel Roan. Is that the other one? They're the hot stuff right now. Beyonce always. It's fine. Taylor Swift, they're always going to be there. But those are the new cups of coffee. It was Olivia Rodrigo a couple years ago. Yeah, see, I'm like Dr. Evil. I'm hip. I'm cool. You know who else is hip and cool? Bonta Hill, Joe Shasky. They're fired up. Niners Packers this week. You better get locked and loaded, baby. Morning roast next. 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD.